Welcome in, everyone, to the TELUS Esports Series 2, week number 2. I'm Vaudable, and joining me yet again for another week of Canadian Rocket League action is the one and only Dude with the Nose, or Trevor. How you feeling today, Trevor?
Not so bad. Got a bit of a cough, but nothing that'll stop me from showing up to week 2 of the TELUS Esports Series. And I'm pretty excited. We got some good games lined up, Vod.
Yeah, we have 4 new matches, all best of 3, second week of competition out of 4, so we're right at the halfway point, seeing exactly how these teams are meting out. Our first 2 matches, well, we'll talk about those in just a little bit. Before we even get into the matches themselves, we do have a few words for you from our sponsors and also from TELUS. So before we start, we'd like to take a moment to acknowledge that our participants and our viewers live and work across many different territories and treaty areas within North America, and we are grateful for the traditional knowledge keepers and elders who are with us today. Those who have gone before us and the youth that inspire us, we have provided a link in the chat for you to take a look and see what territories and treaty areas you reside in. native-land.ca is the website for that. Also, the TELUS Esports Series 2 is proudly presented by Nanoleaf, who is changing the world with the most innovative smart home solutions that transform ordinary experiences into extraordinary ones. As you can see, I have some Nanoleafs right beside me. Very useful. You can change the colors. They can react to music and sounds depending on how you use them. Right now, I have mine just kind of set to an idle color because that's how I like it. You can customize them however you like there as well. Also, another big thanks to our other sponsors that are out there, HyperX and GameCon Canada, for providing the TELUS Esports Series with incredible prizing and rewards for the top competitors of the league. And for Alberta and British Columbia residents only, TELUS has a special partnership with Xbox that if anyone who purchases the Optics TV package, you can also add Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which allows you to have access to 100 plus high-quality games, plus EA Play and Xbox Live Gold. A lot of great games on there. I've used it since the first iteration of Xbox Game Pass. Definitely recommend picking up that package. And now with TELUS partnering with Xbox, you can save everything together all in one bill. Internet, TV, and gaming. A lot of great stuff there to take a part of for Alberta and British Columbia residents only, as a heads up for that. TELUS Optics TV is the most affordable way to get streaming and TV in one plan, where you can customize entertainment packages based on your preference. That includes Netflix, Crave, movies, HBO, and more. TELUS Optics TV offers hundreds of digital channels, including in HD, radio stations, movies, multicultural channels, and more. And you can find some links for that in the chat, telus.com/en/TV/optics, and more about the Xbox partnership as well in the chat. Without all that out of the way, Trevor, it was a little bit of a mouthful, but it's nice to see that we have these great sponsors that are out there providing all of the funding for the $30,000 of prizing that we got to talk about for this, but also the 4 different leagues that we expect to see throughout these competitions. Tell me a little bit about those leagues and the competition that's coming out from them.
Absolutely. The 4 leagues, we've got Got to bring it back up. I got my notes down for the games tonight.
So good.
I can tell you about the games tonight right now, and I'll get back
tell
to
me
the
a bit
format.
about that.
Games tonight, I was doing my research here, looking through all the standings and stuff. We got 2 intermediate games, which is Plat and below, and we got 2 advanced games, which is Diamond and below. So I'm pretty excited for all of these, really. The mechanics, they're not going to be RLCS level. Nobody's expecting that, though. It's going to be a lot more chaotic, a lot more hectic, and that can open up a lot of possibilities for just one player to pop off. And we saw that a lot last week, Vaudable.
Oh, yeah. We saw basically for the most of these matches last week, all of them sweep somehow. It is just best of 3, so you really just need 2 wins back to back. But for the most part, kind of domination, one player leading the charge for the team, and then them taking advantage of the other teams not being quite ready. Some of them put up a decent fight, working together as a team, and we'll see if that's the case this go around. But also, we haven't seen the beginner league yet, which is silver and below. And then the Elite League, which is the best of the best, might have some RLCS level plays. SSL to Champ 1, typically at that range there. So a lot of great competition to come for the next weeks of competition, but we're still focusing on the middle of the pack this go around. But I feel like this first matchup, as we were talking about, one of those intermediate league matchups, not really middle of the pack because they're both at the top of their division. Sapporo are currently 3-0, and Team ZFS 3-1 at the top of their specific group. There's 4 different groups for each of these leagues. Top 16 teams make it into the playoffs happening on the 17th and 18th. We've got 2 more weeks of competition on the Wednesdays here as well, 7th and 14th, if you want to check out the competition then. You could sign up for a stream slot if you already are participating in this too. Definitely recommend checking out the Northern Arena Twitter to find the link for that, or Discord, wherever you get your information about the TELUS Esports Series 2. But we have some information about this one, Trevor, that one of the players on Team ZFS unfortunately can't make it. So they're basically playing like they joined a ranked match and their teammate just left them in the middle of it, went to go get some food or groceries, never returned. And now we got to see how that plays out in the competition for this best of 3.
Yeah, it'll be a little tough. Certainly got your hands full playing a 2v3, but you know what's happened before, as you mentioned, plenty of ranked games go that way. It's possible. You just need to really get in sync with your teammate and avoid taking too many risks. You know, you don't have that third man going. Typically, you're going to want to play a series of 1v1s almost. Have one person go up the field with the ball, take out as many people as they can, and rotate back before the next player goes in. Because if you send 2 people forward and you just get a bad bounce, you do everything right and it just goes off the post and out, you're getting scored on.
Well, hopefully for Team ZFS, they have 3 wins already, trying to see exactly what they can do here. Maybe they are able to turn things around and they have their 2 best players. They don't have to worry about anything else. They got the line stacked in their favor, even if they do have to 2v3 in this matchup. But who knows exactly how things will go down in that capacity for this matchup here. If it's going to be a case of, oh, since it's 3v2, you know, Sapporo, since they're already 3-0, they're probably going to go 4-0 with this, take 2 matches back to back, get the victory there. Or if we're going to see some solid teamwork working from those 2 players, forgetting about the 3rd player and just going forward with everything they can.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be tough. As you mentioned, 3-0, 3-1. Both these teams really have a chance to solidify themselves at the top of their division. So, I mean, this could really give these teams so much leeway and kind of not worry about the weeks to come, because there could be some diamonds in the rough here, no pun intended. This is the Plat League. You wouldn't expect to see any, so they could be diamonds in the rough. It is really gonna be a test to see if this team can 2v3 though, because it is a lot to ask for. In some other tournaments, you know, you just straight up get disqualified if you don't have all 3. But I'm kind of glad to be able to see a team of 2 kind of give it their all. You know, if you're good enough to beat your opponents 2v3, you deserve the win, I think.
I believe so as well. It does seem like we do have 3 players in the lobby, though, so we're just getting some feedback from our production on if this is where we're good to go for the teams to get into the matchup or not. I think we have everyone here. Sapporo, Team ZFS, waiting for them to just take the field, and then we can get into this matchup itself. I believe we've got everyone, so it's only a moment's notice until we actually get into our first game of this best of 3. Just have to reconfirm, make sure that they're all in the lobby. Everything's working fine. They're going to take their time, you know, get their snacks, get everything ready.
Yep.
Maybe they're checking out that package with TELUS Office TV. They heard that they could bundle everything properly, so that's what they're looking into. They weren't as concerned with the match itself, but there's a lot on the line. They got to make the playoffs. A lot of money on the line, too, from our lovely sponsors.
They are taking some time, but that's okay. I don't mind stalling here. Oh, looks like admin's giving the go-ahead. Players are in the lobby now. We're finally going to be able to get this started, Audible. I am excited. 3 players on the blue team just waiting on the orange team. Sleeping Sam's in.
There we go.
Monkey Just is in. Got 2. Do we get 3? Let's see.
Looks like it is just going to be 2v3. Might just be one of their maybe friends or coaches that is in the lobby with them as well, but was not signed up as a sub. So if you don't have a sub signed up, well, unfortunately, you can't have someone come in last minute for the competition to join your team. So that seems to be the case here as well. So we'll see exactly how these 2 on ZFS, currently 3-1, sitting at the top of the competition for their league just because they have played 4 matches thus far, even though they do have a loss on the docket itself. But in the first 30 seconds, holding their opponents of Sapporo at bay as best they can.
Absolutely, and what I'd like to see from this orange team is a dribble-heavy play style. You know, you're down 2v3, you can't be giving away the ball. You need to maintain control, and oh my goodness, who needs 3? Great touch off the back wall. Monkey Just with a fantastic aerial, and Sleepin' Sam following up when it's safe. You don't want to overcommit there, and they didn't. They were back until the ball was free and then stepped forward to place a great shot on net for a 1-goal advantage.
Beautiful work to get that first goal. Teamwork is what's going to make the dream work for this team at ZFS. We'll see if that is enough for them to get the victory. Hold on to this 1-goal differential. And usually, Trevor, when we've seen majority of these teams, at least in the intermediate leagues, get that first goal, it's been difficult for other teams to bounce back, to tie things up. And even when they do, they still end up taking the loss at the end of the day. So we'll see if that changes in week 2. Maybe they've made some adaptations. We haven't seen these two teams specifically, and this is why, because they are the top dogs of their specific division. Faster 10X looking pretty solid. We got a fun fact for him as well.
Yeah, Faster 10X, that name is not a coincidence. He is quite proud of the fact that in his hometown, he was a pretty quick kid, fastest kid in the town at 8 years old. You know, I'm not saying if I was in that hometown I'd beat him, but it might be a tight race, okay?
Oh man, I was gonna be competitive. The former pro and you will never let it go.
exactly. Can't let him have it.
Hey, at least you're faster on the pitch. That's all you got going.
Not anymore. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. They're still in the intermediate league, so you can't be too hard on yourself on that one. But we also can't be too hard on these lovely folks that are competing in this game here. Monkey Just and Sleepin' Sam, of course, could not defend that last shot from going in. If they had a third player, might have been a lot more easy for them to stop that from happening. And as we see it happen here, patiently waiting for it to bounce off the backboard, not opting to defend it because it's better to go for the rebound. That's exactly what we saw happen there. The demo comes out, might be a solid strategy for them. If they demo one of the other players, it's basically 2v2.
Yeah, absolutely. It is going to be a little tough to find the time to demo Sleepin' Sam off the back wall, and now it's a 2v1 rush down the field, but a great tackle by Monkey Just. And what I'm seeing a couple of times here is some double commits coming out from ZFS, and when you only have 2 players, that double commit, that's your entire team. You got to watch out for that, because I do believe it led to the first goal, and it might lead to a second.
Oh no!
Oh no! Oh, an unfortunate backflip from Monkey Just on the goal line, tapping it in his own net.
Maybe monkeying around a little bit too much on the defensive half of their field, as we see the backflip come out, and that was very fancy play, 10 out of 10 style points, but unfortunately it's not going to win you the game. Instead, it might win your opponents this game. So we do see a very solid kickoff strategy from the side of Team ZFS. Ooh. But the double commit, not what you want to see happening when it's 2v3. Luckily for them, it's going to be off target so they can take it away into the corner.
Ball's not out of their end yet. It's going back. Monkey just getting it out of the way in time, but the pressure is not off. Tech Art on the ball. Sam missing that. Monkey popping it out in front. This ball is going every which way, but never to safety, and now it's finally out of their half. But a double commit coming through slows down the offense a little, but not slow enough. Is Faster once again getting that ball just past Sleepin' Sam.
Nice to see from Faster on the get-go there. Sleepin' Sam didn't really have the best positioning, was facing away from the ball, very difficult to make a save on that initiative. So instead it goes the other direction and into the back of the net. Kind of a fake kickoff this time. Didn't work out in their favor, though. Actually, it does. They're able to get the stop, but nobody has possession of the ball on the side of Team ZFS. Somehow, Faster 10X isn't able to get possession of it from the halfway point of the field. So instead, give it up to their opponents. Not for too long. They get a demo themselves. So Jack Space Row, instead of Jack Sparrow, I feel like that is a nod to, as we see them do their best. They had a goal before, looking for some more participation as best as possible. And looking at the shot totals, him and Faster 10X are doing pretty well for themselves. 3 shots apiece, 1 to their teammate Tech Art. And Monkey Just and Sleepin' Sam, only a single shot and goal from Sleepin' Sam. Not much else for Monkey Just, who's just been stuck on defense. 2 saves to their name. Ooh, how to save that time, though.
Yeah, not defensive enough there, sneaking off the goal line. And again, I just can't reiterate it enough. That's why playing 2v3 is such a disadvantage. You cannot support your teammate on the breakout. You just have to trust them to do it on their lonesome. and hold down the fort on defense, because if a bad 50-50 happens like it did in that scenario, it could just be right in the back of your own net.
We might see some more life out of them in the last 40 seconds of play in game number 1, but if they don't turn things around quickly and force an OT with 3 goals that they have to come back, it is going to be them facing the loss in the series very closely. They lose that next game. But they got the first goal. Maybe that's their strategy for the next game. Looking forward to that. Already down by 3, especially the 3 goals, the hat trick saw from Faster 10X, who is living up to their old charm of being the fastest kid in town, as they clued us into there as well. Also, speaking of the regions these two teams are from, Sapporo is from Quebec and Team ZFS is from British Columbia. So both sides of the continent doing what they can to take on the competition. But right now, Sapporo is the one leading the pack 4-1 in that game, and have another man on the field makes it that much easier for them to get that game 1 victory.
Yeah, that was a great start to Team ZFS. You know, I genuinely believe that they had a solid chance of 2v3 after that first goal. Exactly. But unfortunately, they just seem to crumble with double commits, and I suppose some overcommits on offense as well. Both players pushing up just a little bit too far. Again, just to state once more, when you're playing 2v3, you're down a person, you really got to play defensively and wait for your opponents to make a mistake rather than trying to force mistakes, because it can just take a bad bounce and you'll be punished for it.
We'll see how things go once we get into this next game, if Team ZFS can bounce back themselves or if Sapporo is going to be the ones taking the victory in a 2-0 fashion. Will we finally see a team, well, not finally, it's only been 1 week of competition up to this point, another team get a win? Best of 3s a lot of times end up in 2-0s just because of how quick things can happen here. But we'll have to see it once we get into this game itself. We're trying to make sure that everything's all hunky-dory for both of these teams too, because again, as we mentioned before, Team ZFS, they did have an extra spectator in the lobby, and we do not allow that for the people who might be participating in this tournament. You can't have a spectator because obviously they could communicate with you, see exactly how things are going there. So I believe we're going to have to reset the lobby at this time and get another one going so that we can get everything all sorted out for this next game of this best of 3. But just keep you in the loop on what's going on in the background there specifically. But right now, we have to see how this next one will go once we get the right number of players in the game. Don't have any maybe unfair advantages. Even if there was an unfair advantage, they're still down a player. So we'll see what happens once we get into this next one, Trevor.
Yeah, of course, the danger of having a spectator in the game when your opponent doesn't have one is they can keep an eye on boost levels and tell you who's out of boost on the opposing team, excuse me. And you know, it's just in the spirit of fair play, no coaches, no spectators, just the players on the field in the lobby going head to head. And you know, unfortunately it is 2v3, but that's kind of the hand you're dealt, and it's your own player on your own team that's missing, and you just gotta play with that disadvantage, unfortunately.
Yeah, so we'll see once we get everything sorted how this next game is going to go. So got to get everyone out of that lobby, then reset the lobby, then get everything going for this next one. But looking at the way that first game went, Faster 10X, I feel like they are going to be that one like star on the field that we talked about in kind of the intermediate and advanced leagues that we saw last week. We saw usually one player step up to the plate, be the hard carry, probably the highest ranked player, or maybe they just grinded out their mechanics the most. I mean, I have this water ball that says flats are basically grand champ for a reason. So, I mean, maybe that's what's happening as well.
That could be it. That could be it. We did mention in week 1, maybe not in plat, but in diamond, you'll really start to see players with just absurdly talented mechanics. We'll just do double flip resets on you and just completely ridiculous stuff that you rarely even see in the RLCS. But unfortunately, there's just other aspects of the game that are kind of missing that places them down in diamond. So, you know, it's not always mechanics that gets you the win. You really want to see all 3 players working as a team, playing cohesively, and really getting in sync. You know, it's not just a series of 3 1v1s You can get all players involved, get a demo going, get a pass going, and really split the defense for a greater chance of winning.
Well, we'll see how the chance of winning is here for Team ZFS. They have to tie things up or else they are 3-2 on the season at this point, week number 2. Sapporo looking to go 4-0 though. If they do get this victory, cement themselves as the #1 team in their specific group. There are 4 different groups though in the Intermediate League itself. I believe they are Division 4. You can check out the actual details of all of this in a little bit, but we got to check out the details of this first goal, Trevor.
Yeah, a bit of a repeat from game 1 with an early lead here from ZFS. And this time Monkey Just, he gets a good 50, and you can see how conservative Sleepin' Sam is playing. He's waiting back in his own half, not getting overly aggressive, and that allows Monkey Just to follow up their own touch. Even if it did come a little late, it is imperative that they do not double commit.
The website I was going to link you up to before was arena.telus.com/tournaments. And then you can see all the tournaments that are going on for the TELUS Esports Series 2, the specific standings for any teams that you are a fan of or have friends that are participating in, and see how those are all going. Right now, we are seeing how this one is going, and currently a lot better than the previous game, still keeping it at a 1-0 scoreline in favor of Team ZFS. But now they need to see if they can keep that momentum going, get that second goal that eluded them, excuse me, in the previous game. Some good passing plays that are happening. And as you mentioned, the passiveness that we are witnessing from Team ZFS is exactly what we needed to see from them in that game 1.
Absolutely. The double commits were absolutely brutal from ZFS, and they have completely stopped them thus far. But a big demo comes through, and no one from the blue team is able to punish. That allows Sleepin' Sam to respawn back in, but he is getting bumped around once more, and a double commit comes through from Faster and his teammates. Big clear forward. Unfortunately, possession is lost now. Ball stuck in the corner. Pops out into the midfield. Sleepin' Sam is able to stay behind that and get a clear for the moment.
I feel like Tekar is struggling to keep up a little bit when it comes to the touches here, and as we saw there, could not get the connection and got demoed. We almost saw a give and go basically for them to get their second goal of the game. Luckily enough, they did have that third man waiting back that Team ZFS can't rely on when it comes to them trying to get the victory in this series and in this game. I feel like the mechanics as a duo is better than most of the team on Team ZFS compared to Sapporo, but Faster 10X, very solid, just delaying as much as possible, setting up their teammate for success. And when you have that extra player, one can stay back, two can set each other up. Didn't even need to get the connection on that one, just wait for the bounce forward. Jack Space Row able to secure the tie game.
And Monkey Just as well, creeping forward. Ball goes behind him, and he's stuck reversing back to net. Puts himself in a rough spot. Can he get this touch? Interesting angle coming through. This ball is in the center, almost a goal, but it goes off the post and out, and it was a double commit for ZFS. This could be a counter.
Also, if you want an easier way to find that bracket, exclamation point, tell us in the chat. Thank you, Northern Arena, for the heads up on that too. A lot easier than just typing in the URL there. But Monkey Just typing the URL and finding the net that time for the blue half. Great setup to himself, got a demo, dodged the person coming forward. It's like an action movie going for that goal, and they got their second one for the first time in this series.
Solid 2 goals on the board now, and it shows that the early game goals, weren't a fluke. They're able to get 2 on the board. Now they've regained their lead. However, double commit comes through. Monkey Just is going to be the first player up to knock that aside and eliminate any threat. Sleepin' Sam just following this ball. Jack Space Row, beaten 1, beaten 2. Will a shot come through? No faith there on the center.
Oh man, so close yet so far for securing that tie game yet again. But this is exactly what we needed to see from Sapporo, is to make sure that they can get this past the last defender, set themselves up, pass it to each other, and then they can just overwhelm their opponents with numbers. Unfortunately, we're seeing some uncharacteristic misses and whiffs that are happening and tend to happen usually when you're around this level of competition, just because number of hours that you put in the game, the amount of time you practice with this team specifically. It's only week 2, so I'm sure we'll get more consistency out of players like Faster 10X like we saw here.
Who else but Faster 10X? You know, an unfortunate bounce off that curve of the wall brings the ball way up in the air, but blue team still able to take advantage. Faster 10X, first one to that ball and tying the game with just under a minute left. We might finally see a game 3 here of Audible.
Oh man, I don't know. We might just jinx it on that one. Faster 10X trying to make that not a possibility for Team ZFS.
Oh.
And there's Tekar, the star of the game. This time I talked about how he's being a little bit passive, not going for the touches. Well, this is the touch he needed. Into the air, right over top of Sleeping Sam. Had him sleep at the wheel, and this time it's going to be Tekar scoring.
Both defenders to that. Phenomenal speed from Tekart. Now it is imperative that they don't lose this kickoff badly. Double commit coming through, that might be the jinx, but the shot is weak. Faster 10X able to knock it away and maintain control in the corner. Monkey just trying to clear it out, and Sleeping Sam is creeping forward as well. This could be a little bit dangerous, but they do need a goal desperately, and there's only 20 seconds left on the clock.
Ooh, no, Sleeping Sam barely able to get back in time, though. Got the boost as well, so they have some resources to sustain their push on offense. Fortunately for them, it was a 2-on-1 situation, even more difficult than a 3-on-2 situation that they've had to deal with the majority of the game, but less than 5 seconds ago, there's the setup, but no, their hopes and dreams are dashed. It is still up in the air, can't touch down just yet, goes to their own backboard, and eventually will almost touch the ground. Tekart, that was dangerous, but luckily he knew that he had his eyes on the prize, which was the victory in that game. Now Sapporo go 4-0. I guess goes with their namesake, as they get the victory there, and Team ZFS so close to forcing our first game 3 of the stream. At least there's been a lot of them happening in the leagues up to this point, but so close, just not far enough. They had that third player, maybe they would have been getting a different story out of this series. But what a series it was. I mean, we saw Tekart get the game-winning, series-winning goal after, you know, having some passive performances. Nice to see that they got involved at the end of it.
Yeah, as you mentioned, a little passive, and when you're playing a 3v2, there's no point in leveling the playing field and only putting 2 players on offense. You got to get all 3 of you involved and just completely beat the defenders to every touch, because I mean, just talking numbers, you have more space on the field that you control. You have more boost on the field that you control. You got to exploit that numbers advantage in every area of the game. And when Tekart got involved, they accomplished that goal.
Very true. Speaking of accomplishing that goal, Faster 10X, 1.5 goals per game. Great way to round out their victory there, and they will very likely, with this performance halfway through the season, make it into those playoffs. Would not be surprised to see them there. Would be very surprised after this performance to not see them there. So good luck for the next 2 weeks of competition. Even with Team ZFS, you still have a chance to bounce back. There's still a lot of competition to go. Still a lot more matches to go as well. But speaking of matches to go, we have 3 more on the docket tonight. So we're going to take our first break. We'll be back with more TELUS Esports Series 2 action. Welcome back, everyone. Got to give a quick shout out to one of our lovely sponsors, HyperX. Great headsets, keyboards, and everything else you need as far as peripherals are concerned for your computer. Everything else that they offer. Some great products that are out there. Definitely recommend checking that out. And thank you to HyperX for being one of our sponsors, helping provide part of the $30,000 prize pool for the TELUS Esports Series 2. We have a second appearance of one of the teams that we saw last week, Trevor, which was Black Cars. They faced off against the best team in their division of the Advanced League, which was Wash. And Wash did not live up to their name at all. They're currently number 1 in the rankings in their division there as well. Exclamation point. Tell us in the chat if you want to follow along with that specific bracket there. I believe they are Div 3, if I'm looking at it correctly, in that Advanced League specifically. So we went from the Intermediate League into the Advanced League this time. And it's the 10th seed, 1 and 2, which is Black Cars, versus the 6th seed, 2 and 0. Do we think this is going to be a bit different than that first match that we saw Black Cars in?
I mean, it is tough to say. So far, the stats not looking in their favor. As you mentioned, they're 1 and 2, 2 losses up against a lossless team so far in Acute Triangle. So it'll be interesting. You know, Rocket League is not always a game that obeys the transitive properties of Team 1 beats Team 2.
Fair.
Team 2 beats Team 3.
Fair.
Sometimes upsets happen, and it's just a matter of playstyle matchups and all sorts of stuff that just all sorts of variables on the day that can change. So it is impossible to predict what's going to happen in this next game.
Well, one thing we do have to talk about before we get into this next game too is your feedback. It's very important to us as well at TELUS. The TELUS team is always focused on growing and improving when it comes to TELUS Esports Series. So they want to hear your feedback so they can improve and bring it back to the league in a bigger and better way. So please take a moment to complete the survey that is posted in the chat as well. Definitely recommend that so that we can improve everything as possible for the next iteration of the TELUS Esports Series. This is the second one. We're only getting better from here as the weeks go on. We have to hope that Black Cars are getting better from here as the week goes on. I know they're usually like, not in Canada specifically, but the US, they're like government vehicles. I like how like specific parts of Canada have like the white cars instead because it blends in with the snow a little bit there. But they won't be able to blend in with the competition here. They need to rise above the odds and get the victory so that they can go 2 and 2, even up their score to hopefully make it into that top 4. There's a lot of competition in the Advanced League. Looking at the teams, I mean, so many in each of these divisions. Only 4 out of each of those divisions make it into the playoffs. Top 16, as I mentioned last week, and then just now as well, making it there. But we've talked enough about the potentials for this best of 3 and these two teams. Let's get going into our second best of 3. Black Cars versus Acute Triangles, the number 10 in this specific division, versus the 6th seed as well. 2-0, looking to go 3-0, and 1-2, looking to go 2-2. I mean, predictions for this one, Trevor, as we wait for them to get on the field and get ready, locked and loaded for this game.
I think I gotta go with Acute Triangle taking it 2-0. You know,
Fair.
it's just
that's been par for the
stats
course.
don't lie. And yeah, that is how it goes. Usually, not too many game 3s and best of 3s. As soon as you get that game 1 momentum, game 2 tends to go your way.
We'll see what happens in this game as well. We got Sticky, El Diablo, and Master as well on the side of Black Cars. And we got Fence, Mike, and Bruno Male on the other side, trying to see what Acute Triangles can do to keep their record straight. But right now, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Sticky getting that first goal on the board in the first 30 seconds.
And quite a long goal, practically from his own goal line, and it's just past all 3 defenders. Ought to be a little more conscientious of any potential threat as that ball is crossing the opponent's goal line. I can tell you in the preseason season 1, and I mean true season 1, not free-to-play season 1,
Ooh.
that is how 90% of goals were scored. And another goal being scored here by Prison Mike, just running it up the field, winning 1 challenge, popping it past the second, and Sticky trying to make it back, unfortunately just not getting there in time for the demolition.
Prison Mike breaking out, doing the best they can to have a clean record with that first goal. 1-1 with a shot and a goal there as well. Model citizen, but as I say that, they did get another shot recently, so maybe not 100% shooting capacity, but we hope to see more from them in the future on offense. Mali trying to see what they can do defensively to keep them in this game. We're able to tie it up in the first minute of competition. And speaking of competition, it has been very strong in this opening minute of game number 1 of the best of 3. The second one tonight of week 2 for the TELUS Esports Series 2. And this is only the beginning of a series of events that go down in this game to probably be one of the best ones of the night.
It is absolutely looking like it so far. The mechanics seem to be pretty high diamond. I'm seeing specifically from Prison Mike, great aerials and great speed on those aerials. You know, it's not always just the ability to place the ball, because that doesn't mean a whole lot if your opponent is beating you to the ball and preventing you from getting a touch entirely. Now this ball floating out in the midfield. You can see the defenders on the orange team waiting back a little bit. Fence grabbing the boost, grabbing the ball and trying to get another touch, but Prison Mike is gonna have to bail them out, knock that into the corner and out into the midfield. The offense so far seems a little disjointed from both teams, where they're getting one touch and then they kind of let off the gas, they back up and they wait for the goal to present itself rather than keeping on the pressure and forcing a goal. Almost a quality touch there from Sticky.
We have the fence in the way of the defense that time, as we were seeing them go down the field as strongly as they can. All the boost in the tank, and a good shot coming out again from Prison Mike. 3 shots to their name, but the shot isn't going to go in that time. El Diablo, a double commit is going to work in the favor of this Acute Triangles team, and oh man, so unfortunate there by Master. Instead, it's going to be Bruno Mali, who is the master of this goal and his own destiny at the halfway point.
Yeah, if you're Master, you can see right there, turning just a little too early. When you're turning for that ball in net, you want to make sure you are crossing your own goal line to prevent that angle where the ball can hit you and then go in. If you're coming from inside your own net, as long as you're in between the goal and the ball, it's not getting through you, it's not bouncing off you and in. So just a matter of being patient with that turn and making sure you're in a good position to keep that ball out of the net. Unfortunately, they get a little antsy and that ball bounces off them and in. Offense still on for the orange team, but a big clear. Those have been pretty lethal so far. Got 1 goal from it, but a couple more chances. You know, with a touch pass 1, pass 2, that's off, but the follow-up could be there. Master just missing.
So close, yet so far for Black Cars to try and tie up the scoreline here. It's been a minute of not much coming out of their side other than being stuck on defense. A demo comes out as well by the Fence himself, trying to take out the competition before they can stop the shots from coming in. Triangle, Prison Mike leading the charge for them. 3 shots again to their name, 1 goal, 1 save. A save apiece actually for all of Acute Triangle. So the offense, it's been strong from mainly El Diablo, but this time it's Sticky with 2 goals to their name.
Sticky with a phenomenal catch here and just being patient, not rushing that touch. Sticky's looking at the ball and their opponent the entire way, and as soon as the opponent bites and jumps for that ball, Sticky's closer to it. He just has to react in time, and he beats the defender cleanly, finding the open net.
Now it's anybody's game and anybody's series. We've seen how important getting that first game is to every series we've had at this point, at least 5, which is a decent pool of competition in the intermediate and advanced leagues for the TELUS Esports Series 2. We're at the 1 minute remaining mark. We might get an OT. It might not happen though. Sticky can't get the stop, but instead stick with it, and it goes in it to the corner. As Bruno Mali can't keep up with the pressure established by El Diablo. The Fence himself up to the other side of the pitch. 40 seconds to go. Nobody giving an inch up to this point, and even then, still hard to tell who's going to get that next goal.
Dangerous ball there, but good speed by the defense to get a massive clear. And I love what I'm seeing from Sticky so far. They have a dribble-heavy playstyle where they're content to keep the ball close to themselves. A lot of times in the lower ranks, and specifically Diamond, the players, they focus on powerful touches rather than baiting in the defense with light touches and then beating one and giving it to a teammate. Ooh, Sticky once again in the corner with a patient challenge, but Mike could center it here. He's waiting, going for a bump on the goal. He doesn't find it, and this is going to overtime.
El Diablo really saving the day there. There was a very easy line of a shot for Fence to take to secure the victory for them at the end if El Diablo didn't get the touch. And speaking of the touch, we see another one there. Sticky waiting for their time to shine, picking up that corner boost. Ooh, making sure they have everything necessary. We see a doink coming off the hood of one of the cars from the orange side, but that's not going to work in their favor. Instead, it goes into favor of Master. El Diablo trying to see what they can do with the opportunity that was given to them and their team. Not enough just yet for that to convert to a goal.
A lot of hectic touches. Ball's going back and forth. Mike is first up, misses the touch, and that is past Bruno. Now a 1v1. El Diablo, quick touch off the back wall. Would have loved to see a dribble there. Sticky throwing it into the corner. This ball is awkward. Prison Mike is up, gets beat by El Diablo. Bruno has to get a big clear here. Master almost beating for the ball, but a couple of whiffs coming through. Sticky once again following up, and Fence clears that to the side.
Oof. First minute already gone. Oh, what? No. Oh, that's unfortunate. We just had to take a time to breathe in this play as it was happening. El Diablo seemed like they had control of the situation, but they were their own demise. Bounced it off the corner, didn't go the exact direction they wanted. Instead, they needed the acute triangle, but they did not measure properly with their protractor, and instead it will be their opponents getting the game one victory in OT. Prison Mike in that second goal for their fourth shot. It took some time for them to get shot number 4, but that's all they needed for them to get the victory in that first game. And what a way to do it too. So close. Sticky really carried the team this time, where El Diablo and Master were the ones who did it in the first series in week 1.
Yeah, and you know, just to touch on that final goal, I liked that defensive touch off the corner to themselves. Unfortunately, just the wrong angle, it gets by them, and you know, the idea was fine. Unfortunately, the execution just wasn't there. And part of that kind of reminds me of when you're on a team and you're watching replays, you have to know what to learn from your losses.
Yep. And
I don't think there was really a mistake there. You know, you had the right idea. Unfortunately, there was just a mechanical error. That's fine. You know, you get the hours in, you hone that down, and you just improve so much. You know, you don't watch replays to point out mechanical errors. that just comes with time.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping enough time has passed as we get into game 2, they'll clean up those mechanical mistakes, and maybe we might see a bit of a closer game.
We'll see once we get into this game as well. I mean, hopefully for the sake of Black Cars, it isn't a closer game, and we do see, you know, them get this and get us our first third game in a best-of-3 series, as everyone's taking the field at this time, just in time for the kickoff as well, as we get kicked off with game number 2. Hopefully not the last of the series. I've loved the initiative that both these teams have put forward, especially the first foot forward from Sticky that time, as they got the first goal in the first game of this best-of-3 series. The second one of the night, about 22 seconds into it. Now we might see a take 2 from them even quicker than before. It goes the other direction, off the backboard, off the crossbar, and instead, no one scored in the first 30 seconds.
A couple of close chances, though, just not quite on target. Double commit coming through from Prison Mike and Bruno. Following up with a full tank of boost, tries to get a pass into the midfield. Fence not getting there in time, but Prison Mike is there for the follow-up. Good rotations coming through. Last one, but Master on the goal line, clearing that to the side, and gets beat out by Fence. Fence looking for a midfield pass, but a couple of whiffs coming on through, preventing much offense from being generated there.
Oh. No. Oh,
excuse me.
That's unfortunate, having to watch that one back, but we did see a little bit of a pinch that set it in an awkward direction. Hard to save there from Master. Didn't quite get the flip that they were wanting. Expected to be faster than it was, but it really wasn't. It was sort of a changeup somehow from the shot coming out, so difficult to read. Again, one of those mechanical mistakes that they just didn't get the timing right that time, and unfortunately that is one you gotta look back on, as we're gonna look back on it here, Trevor.
A Prison Mike with a fantastic shot. Unfortunately, it wasn't on net until Master was so nervous, didn't quite know that it was off target, so they just dove trying to get a save, and that is such a slim angle for that to bounce off the wall back into you and back into your own net. But it doesn't matter how close it was and how slim the margins were. You are now down 2-0, 3 minutes 40 on the clock. You gotta bring this back soon.
Oh no, man. So unfortunate too. It seemed like a completely different team in the first game, but now we're seeing some mistakes coming out from Black Cars that we saw in the first series in week 1 against Wash, who, again, not living up to their name. They're currently the first in their division, 3-0 on the standings, I believe it is, and this team is looking to join them at 3-0. Acute Triangle specifically, as they are 3-0 in game 2. It might be the last game of this best of 3 series here. 3:24 on the clock, looking pretty solid for themselves. Bruno, the one stepping in the plate, where Prison Mike was the one who got them the victory in OT in the prior game. We're not even at the halfway point, Trevor, so there's plenty of time for Black Cars to bounce back. They just need to work a little bit on their coordination and timing, I feel like.
Absolutely. You know, as you mentioned, that double commit coming through and the ball is headed back in to Black Cars' end. So that really is the big difference right now. Just getting in sync. Again, slow to get this touch, so Fence is able to keep on the offense. I want to see the defense kind of know their roles, and unfortunately, Fence getting a touch high in the air, landing on the wall, and coming down, and unfortunately, none of the defense is ready. That is a long time where that ball is uncontested. You gotta have a defender ready to get that clear, or at the very least, get control of it and prevent that shot from coming through uncontested.
It's crazy because I feel like we're a broken record at this point. This is the way things have been going since week 1. Even in the advanced or even intermediate league, when a team gets a close win in the first game, they somehow run away with it in the second game. And that is just a universal truth, it seems like, the TELUS Esports series too. Maybe the next 2 series will break that and give us our third game that we've been hoping for, praying for at this point. But Fence trying to make sure there's nothing for the defense to pray for on that one, as instead he was going to score as best as they could, but not going to be successful with the dribble and the juke play around the defense. But nice looking out for it.
Diablo with a rough touch. The defenders are completely scrambled right now. A couple of them facing the wrong way on the goal line. I want to see them calm down. Unfortunately, 2 minutes left. You're down by 4. That is a easier said than done to calm down after the Acute Triangle has just put on so much pressure. Double commit coming through off the crossbar. Diablo turning. That is 3 defenders in the complete wrong half, but they managed to not be punished for it. Fence with a big clear up to the ceiling and back down beats a second player, and time is just winding down. Acute Triangle is more than content to just clear the ball and wait back in their own end. However, Sticky, what a phenomenal touch.
Beautiful work put in by Sticky right off their back wall. Went for the perfect challenge. Didn't even need to worry about the 50 because they were there fast enough, and no chance for Prison Mike to get the stop on that play. Sticky was waiting for them to come alive in this game because they were the ones who got the first goal in it the previous one. And kept it as competitive as it was all the way down to that OT, where it went the other direction. It seemed like the series changed after that, apart from the scoreline, of course. Because right now, they only have a little bit over a minute to get 3 goals to get another fateful encounter in overtime. That is, again, a very tall order to fulfill.
Order indeed. In fact, it might... Oh, Prison Mike getting beat out by Sticky. That could have been a 5-1 game right there. Hence missing that ball. This is a dangerous bounce, but a clear comes through from Bruno. Pressure's not off. Diablo to the center. Phenomenal pass. Unfortunately, no one there to get a good shot.
Oof. Nice touch by Master, but it seems like the boost is the biggest difficulty on defense for this Black Cars team. We're seeing a lot of boosts being stolen by their teammates, stolen by the other players on the other side, and not exactly knowing who it should go to as a priority to try and break out of their defensive half. We do see it happen there, though, but a little bit too late as we are at the 10 seconds remaining point, trying to get those 3 goals not possible mathematically at this point, and I'm sure Acute Triangles have that mathed out themselves, especially with 1 second on the timer as it ticks down, goes to 0, and 2-0 is the final scoreline here, where Acute Triangles now move their record up to 3-0 on the day in week 2 for the TELUS Esports Series 2.
3-0 now. That is a phenomenal performance. I've been saying that word way too much. I realize that. My bad. But Prison Mike in particular, I saw a couple of times where, one, their aerials were very quick, very precise. Loved what I was seeing. And in particular, in game 1, to get that overtime goal, or not overtime, but the game-winning goal, they had a great read on a midfield pass and they cut that off. And that is a pretty advanced thing, you know, to not be too defensive when your opponents have the ball and turtle up, and you're defending proactively. You're realizing what the options are and you're cutting them off. And that's what I saw from Prison Mike there.
Hopefully we'll see more from them throughout the rest of the TELUS Esports Series 2. Again, there's so many teams out there, trying to highlight as many as possible. So if you are one of those teams participating, sign up by following Northern Arena on Twitter. They do have a link there for you to sign up for a streaming slot. But we are going to be taking our second break of the night. We're at the halfway point. One more Advanced League matchup and one more Intermediate League matchup. Still both best of threes. Will we get a third game? Find out after this. Welcome back, everyone. Got to give another shout out to another of our lovely sponsors that are out there, and my camera for not being on. It's on me. I just wanted to surprise you. I wanted to scare you to be like, boo. There we go. I'm here. Hopefully you were paying attention, because I definitely was. Anyway, our lovely sponsors that are out there, HyperX, of course, and GameCon Canada. Definitely recommend checking them out if you want to go to a lovely convention, but also they are helping provide some of our $30,000 prize pool. Again, let me say that a lot of prizing on the line for these competitors that are out there of the 4 different leagues and all the divisions that are a part of those. Again, we also are providing another healthy gaming tip for those that are out there. So Trevor, what is your healthy gaming tip this week?
My healthy gaming tip, I don't know if you can tell, I got a bit of a cough. It sucks. My tip is don't get sick. It's not fun.
Yeah.
Back
there
to
we
you.
go. Don't get sick. Probably with that too, get enough sleep. That's like recommended by your healthcare professionals. That's probably something that'll help. Also, my tip is going to be close your eyes every so often. Don't just be like wide-eyed while you're playing games, staring like 5 centimeters from the monitor. Stay far enough back. There's different distances depending on how big your screen is, and definitely recommend doing that, because a lot of people, they don't need these things until they stare at monitors all day. So, that is a healthy gamer tip. If you want to keep your eyesight looking pretty good, well, take some time to take a break from the screens for a little bit there. But we're not going to be taking a break from the action for too much longer, because we have 2 more teams in the Advanced League. Our final Advanced League matchup tonight, which is going to be, this is Rocket League versus Supersonic Noobs. I love these team names. I mean, these are the best team names facing off against each other this time, but not the best records, Trevor.
No, as you're alluding to, this is Rocket League 1-2 in their division. As you mentioned, this is in the Advanced League, so Diamond and below. We can expect to see some good games, even if they're 1-2. They're up against Supersonic Noobs, who are 1-1, looking a little neutral, and hoping to fix that tonight, hopefully for better and not for worse. But I mean, this could really go either way. That's how it goes so often in these early tournament matches. You don't have a whole lot of background info to go off of. But I mean, I am excited nonetheless. As you mentioned, I love these team names.
Oh, yeah. This is Rocket League, the most iconic call in Rocket League at this point in time, and I know Shogun is never going to live it down and wish it would escape them, and then the developers added it as a quick chat option in Rocket League, so it'll never die. And then Supersonic Noobs is just great because, Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket-Powered Battle Cars was the predecessor to Rocket League, if you aren't familiar with that, or Sarp BC, which is a great game that you can get as well. But we have a great game that is about to happen between these 2 teams. This is Rocket League and Supersonic Noobs. One of these 2 teams going to change their record around from either 1-2 to 2-1, or 2-1 instead of 1-1. So either positive or keeping it neutral as can be for this. That's the math on that. We're casters. You can't expect us to do too much. That is how games work. Yeah, that's how games work. There you go. You're learning something today. Some healthy gamer tips, but also simple addition. Is what we're talking about here as well. But we also got to talk about going into this game. So let's get those players on the field themselves. 3v3, best of 3, third match of the night in the TELUS Esports Series 2. Trevor, it's all yours.
Oh, I am excited. The players are in now. Kickoff starting. Goes fairly neutral into the orange zone. However, not too much of a follow-up. It's just going back and forth, and we see that quite often in game 1s of even best of 3s, best of 5s. It does not matter. The teams like to feel each other out, and blue team so far liking what they're feeling is they get a couple shots on net. This one could just bounce it off the post and out the follow-up is a miss. Oh, that is tragic.
What's so funny, I just realized, is that the Canada decal for, I think, the World Cup event that's going on right now is the same color as the orange team would typically have one of their cars. So it tripped me out a little bit there, but it's okay. I got my glasses on this time. I took them off for just a little bit, but we're getting into this game as best as we can. And we got a very interesting player name on the side of Supersonic Noobs. Is it a dot or is it a period? That is the question for you, Trevor.
That is a tough question. Not
that's
even
a goal,
fair.
though.
Sergeant Peely, thank you for saving me from that. Defense, however, could not save that. Peely with a long touch and 6 trying to maintain control. However, you see just that last little touch bounces over the hood of their car. And unfortunately, defense just not ready to make that save. And who would be? Just an unfortunate touch, and they weren't able to control it.
I wouldn't be ready.
Oh, me neither.
Well, luckily, they were pretty ready defensively, even with the demos that were coming out. I spoke too soon at that time, though, as 6 is going to take advantage of the chaos that was wrought by their teammates. It was delivered spectacularly to the box, and then it shot straight towards 6, who got a simple shooter into the back of the net to tie things up 1-1, just past the 1 minute gone mark.
Yeah, and there was a double commit on the goal line, which seems to be a bit of a recurring trend in these games. Keely now off the back wall and just going to rotate out, grab some boost, and let their teammates take control of the situation. However, one of their teammates appears to be in that dot period, whatever you want to call him. He's just chilling, not leaving his own net. So Kitten Kalmu and Sergeant Peely, they're going to be doing the entirety of the offense. Oh, until now they're going forward. They found the confidence they needed. But OP Silver getting that ball away to themselves. Up in the air now, looking for an air dribble, taking it to the net. Could get a 50 here, and the 50 just goes wide.
It's also another Alberta versus Quebec matchup. This is Rocket League from Quebec, as you can tell by their tags. And then on the other side of the field, Supersonic Noobs from Alberta. Last time, Alberta won the battle, as we did see Acute Triangles take the victory, but it's been pretty even between these two regions when it comes to the TELUS Esports Series 2. Sure, there is some home province pride between these two teams, but also trying to do the best that they can, again, as we mentioned before, to change their fate in the standings, change their records, because they need to do the best as possible, win as many games, they get that top 4 of their division, to be in the top 16 out of their league to make it into those playoffs on the 17th and 18th of December.
Couple more rough defensive touches. 6 has tried to go for a demo. Sorry, not a demo, a dribble a few times now. Unfortunately, they're just not catching the ball where they want to, and they're losing possession. So maybe adjust to that just a little bit and go for bigger clears instead of controlling the ball.
Might be a solid strategy from them. Out of these teams, I feel like needs a decent clear opportunity, especially Sergeant Peely. But giving up that opportunity, as we saw there, to OP Silver, made it difficult for them to maintain their stay on offense. Had to back up, retreat to their side. Tactically, it's probably the Sergeant called them out to do. Leading the charge for their team, but OP Silver leading the charge defensively, it feels like, for this is Rocket League team.
Oh my.
Oh no, so close.
They've just been off the ceiling and in. OP Silver rotating back, almost getting in mixed way, but 6 is able to follow up with a touch. A little bit back and forth, neither team committing all that much here on offense. OP Silver with a fantastic challenge. This could bounce back to them. No, not recovering in time. Be a chance for a counter here as Dot takes possession, slams it off the back wall, pops it into the midfield. Peely putting it off the backboard. No powerful shot coming through quite yet. Neither is the clear, though. Kitten Kalmu turns on that. This ball just in dangerous territory, but unfortunately, dangerous shot not coming through. Kitten Kalmu on the ball, but they have 0 boost. I want to see some more threatening action. Peely, no, just missing, and all the way back is Dot.
Oh man,
is that just it?
Is it? Oh, no boost! So many chances, it felt like, up to this point, with only 15 seconds less than that. Now to try and get that final goal, it's going to be heart-crushing if they don't get it here, or if they don't get it in OT, which it seems like they'll have to do, unless 6 can keep this alive. It goes down the other way, right in front of the box, but nobody's there to get the finishing touch. Goes to OT. And you could tell that the Supersonic Noobs are waiting with bated breath, because they basically had that in the bag. if it would have been a few pixels less wide of the net.
Quite close indeed.
Oh!
Rough bounce here. Mick is back in time to toss that one aside. Peely with a bit of a back pass. Like to see that. OP Silver is ready for that though. Sergeant Peely taking it up the sidewall. Six is not going to let that happen though, as Silver goes for a bit of a dribble, takes it into the corner, and we could see a dangerous mid pass here. Pops it out, Six is up, and a good defensive tackle by Dot.
Oh, is that oh, that's unfortunate. After all the shots we saw come out from Sergeant Peely, 4 of them total, this is Rocket League proof that this is the game-winning goal here. A little bit into OT, but not too long. 43 seconds at that. As we do see OP Silver finally strike true. Out of 4 shots, only 1 of them going in, but it was the one that mattered for them to get the victory there. 6 with 3 to their name, and Mick 007 with 1. The defense on the SS Noobs, as we have them changed out to in the in-game menu, which is very funny. They unfortunately had the Sergeant go down with the ship that time in OT, as they could not maintain that offensive push they had before it.
And it is unfortunate because, I mean, both teams had so many chances. It was just a matter of cleaning up those rotations. And in particular, I think with Six, I was noticing it the most, being low on boost way too often. And that is usually a sign that you're cutting your rotations a little too much, and you're relying on the big boost pads in the corner far too heavily. You can pick up the small boost pads, excuse me, I'm sorry, the small boost pads for 12 boost, and just take a circuit and be full of boost by the time you're back into the play without ever really conceding any positional advantage.
We'll see if that is what happens in this game, if they make that adjustment themselves. Had to wait for a player to join back into the lobby, but they do it just in time to get onto the kickoff, so we don't need to reset anything. We get into game number 2, potentially the last one again, if the trends continue this way as they have thus far for 7 matches now of the TELUS Esports Series 2, at least the streamed ones in the Advanced League and the Intermediate League. Haven't seen the Elite or Beginner Leagues just yet, but there's still 2 more weeks of competition. Again, sign up for those stream slots. We'll see what happens here on this one, as we do see an opening from Sergeant Peely, and no, it goes awry. Instead, we see some follow-ups, but the defense is too strong.
It's just holding on, and a big touch that is going just wide of the net from Silver. Mick has a chance, but it's to no one, unfortunately. Peely with a nice touch, but Silver's ready for it. Big demo coming on through, though. Silver beats another. Taking it into the corner, looking to pop this out in the midfield, or take it by themselves, excuse me. OP Silver doing it all on their lonesome.
What way to do it too. Got the game-winning goal before, this time just needed to block the clear out from the defender on Supersonic Noobs. This is Rocket League representing Quebec well. They saw one of their brethren fall early in the previous series. So now they're trying to take one again against Alberta in this TELUS Esports Series 2 itself. And no, dot, period, whatever you want to call them. Unfortunately, they are just going to be a dot on the page at this point with the setups they are giving to the other team. This one a bit more blatant than the previous, but it still hurts just as bad.
Yeah, rough communication coming through from the orange team there. As Dot creeps forward, the clear goes over his head, and instead of rotating back and letting his teammate take care of it, he stays in the play, turns around, and okay. Goal going right back the other way before I'm allowed to finish my point. That's quite rude, but Kitten Kalmu wasting no time for anyone, putting that off the ground and into the top of the net. That is fantastic placement, and usually those bounce shots, they can catch a ton of defenders off guard.
Especially at this level of competition, not quite used to seeing the different ways the ball can come at the net apart from directly from an attacker. Now we're seeing Dot doing a lot better defensively, at least on the clear game. Sergeant Peely seems to be their striker, and Kit and Kalmu maybe the assist maker, and then Dot kind of their defender, but right now they are left wide open with nobody back, far down and in, very close to bouncing out, but it's not going to happen this time. 6 with 2 to their name, not even getting it. 2 minutes gone on the clock just yet.
Fantastic touch. 6 looking a lot better so far. As you mentioned, 3 minutes 20. Still plenty of time to come back. 3-1 lead is the most easy lead to lose in a lot of sports.
True.
Now Dot on the ball. Yeah. And Kalmu, oh my goodness, a lot of back and forth. You're not too much control. You never know where this ball is going. It's hard to get a read on the play. Now 6 throwing it into the corner, but no one is there to take advantage of it. OP Silver just playing patiently, sees 2 of his teammates stuck in the offensive corner, just bides time, waits for them to rotate back, and they do a good job of clearing this one out.
Oh no.
My.
Oh no, okay. That was very close again where Kit and Kalmu went for the ball. This is just needle. A needle is all that's necessary to push the ball just past the post into the net, it feels like, but it's not working because you can't use those tools in Rocket League. Instead, you have to be a bit more accurate, have the tenacity to push on through, follow the ball, follow the shot, get the finish. Not that it's necessary at this point for This Is Rocket League. Because again, story goes the same way as it always has here in the TELUS Esports Series 2. Once you win one very closely, you dominate in the next game, and that was just a tee up for OP Silver to get that goal.
Yeah, OP Silver not even going for a goal there, I don't think. They're just trying to get a clear, and unfortunately for the attacker, just tee that ball up as you mentioned, serve it on a platter, and it goes right in. Oh, a couple of whiffs coming through. That could have been 5-1.
I feel like the biggest thing that we need to see out of the Supersonic Noobs team is to get outside of their comfort zone and their traditional roles that we're witnessing from them. Where Sergeant Peely is the main striker, probably the highest ranked player, and say the captain of this team. Kit and Kalmu, playmaker, doing all the assist work and getting involved on offense when they can, defense as well, and then Dot, period, whatever their name is, doing what they can defensively. If they work together, as we're seeing from This Is Rocket League, as more of a rotation, it wouldn't be caught off guard as many of times as we have seen in odd spots when all of them have to overlap each other as far as those typically established roles in a game like soccer that aren't as usual in Rocket League.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just having a system and some protocols that you rely on instinct rather than having to communicate and wait for a response, it just hastens the game so much, and you're able to catch opponents off guard and just seamlessly work in tandem with your teammates rather than just trying to force a game plan to work. It is so necessary to no, the backflip. Oh, that is so unfortunate from Dot. They're having a rough day right now.
Rough day, rough time, but it happens to the best of them, and you just got to brush that off and bounce back in the future. Again, they're only 1-1. This is their third match of the TELUS Esports Series 2, so they got plenty of room to grow. And This Is Rocket League, they've been in the same position that Supersonic Noobs are going to be in. Because again, based on the competition we've seen, we don't always like to say this is going to happen, but with this kind of a score line, okay, that was very close. We almost saw it be 6-1 at that point.
Oh, what a shot.
So we might see it happen pretty soon, but with 24 seconds, no chance really to come back for those 4 goals based on what we have witnessed up to this point. Even the best teams that are out there struggle to come back from that big of a deficit. But as I was saying, This Is Rocket League, they are currently 1-2, so they've been where Supersonic Noobs are going to end up after this loss. Yeah. So maybe just having that one game more of experience, they are on a bounce back, whereas Supersonic Noobs, they might have just gotten their first win. So, you know, you got to go through ups and downs, adversity to make it to the top. And hopefully This Is Rocket League have taught some valuable lessons to Supersonic Noobs throughout this series. They have some good replay footage and a lot to go back and review, but really just comes down to practice and clean up those mistakes from what we saw defensively. That was the main thing I would say that they need to work on. If they can get rid of that, they'll be fine and would have been a much closer series.
Absolutely. I think it is just a matter of kind of finding the confidence and not playing so disjointed by having that player sitting in net for the majority of the game. You really want to see all three players getting involved on offense and on defense and making sure you all have a similar kind of role. You know, you're not playing three separate games. This isn't a MOBA. You're not picking roles.
True.
You
No
all
picks
have
and
equal
bans.
capability on the field, and you
Use
gotta
whatever
take
car you
advantage of
want.
that. Yeah. So I would love to see that change in their future games where, you know, it is 3v3 and not 2+1v3.
Exactly. And that's just something that comes with time, practice, and playing more of the game itself, especially at higher levels. That's usually what separates people who have like pretty good mechanics, but they don't really know the rest of the game. They're just like individually practicing themselves and have the best players and teams that are out there, because you can be really good individually, but if you aren't the greatest when you get fit into a team, you're like a puzzle piece that's not the right sizes, well, then it's not going to complete the puzzle that makes up that teamwork that we like to see from these teams that are out there. But again, we can talk about that all day, but we have one final series on the docket, which is going to be We Won't Forfeit from Quebec versus the Alberta Crushers from Alberta. So I guess they're crushing themselves somehow. We'll talk more about that when we get back from our final break for the night. But this is week 2 of the TELUS Esports Series 2, and we'll see you in a few. Welcome back, everyone, to the TELUS Esports Series 2, presented by Nanoleaf as well. Check out these cool different options that are there to change some of the colors. Pretty awesome. You can customize it a lot more than I have just done with simple colors. You can use your smart home features with it as well. Definitely recommend checking them out if you're looking to enhance your experience living in your house or wherever else you want to use them. In your office, too, it's a really cool way to light up the room and experience, a little bit more fun with what you're doing with tech. So we also want to call out the feedback survey that is out there and let you also know, if you give us your feedback and are a part of the TELUS Esports Series 2, we will be giving away 2 different Xbox Series S consoles to TELUS Esports Series participants. All you have to do is complete the survey in the chat. Winners will be drawn live during the Rocket League Finals on December 17th and 18th. So definitely recommend filling out that survey. Let us know how we can improve the TELUS Esports Series for the next iteration and for the future of the TELUS Esports Series, so that we can continue to make this a great thing for Canada and esports as a whole. But that's all we got to talk about for that. We got to talk about this series now. We won't forfeit versus Alberta Crushers. What can we expect from these 2 teams, Trevor?
So to put things lightly, we got a bit of an underdog story here. Now, I'm not saying it's over.
No.
But we won't forfeit. They're 0-2. The name maybe not inspiring that much confidence, up against Alberta Crushers, 2-0. They might be poised to make it 3-0 now, but who knows? I'm not picking sides here. I'm just saying the stats are suggesting a little something.
Yeah. I mean, Alberta's looking to crush the competition. I feel like that's where they got their name from, instead of them crushing Alberta, because they're facing off against, I believe it is a Quebec team this go around as well. There's been a lot of like Alberta versus Quebec rivalries happening here throughout the advanced and intermediate leagues as well. But this time we do have a matchup from the intermediate league from these 2 teams. We won't forfeit versus Alberta Crushers. Let's get onto the field for our final best of 3 of the night of week 2 as well. At least the broadcast, there's still matches happening in the background for the competition there. But again, this is the halfway point. You got to get those victories where you can. This is the time for We Won't Forfeit to get their first victory. If they can do it against a team that's 2-0, it's going to help them out a lot to try and make it into those playoffs. So let's see if we can get everyone onto the field as we get into this final game. Another best of 3. Will this be the time that we get a game 3? It's going to be tough. That's all I got to say on this one, Trevor.
It could happen. And, for We Won't Forfeit, if they're able to get this game, that is a huge monkey off their back. Just getting that first win is it is imperative to building confidence and kind of creating momentum to get the next win and the next win and the next win. So hopefully, even if it's just game 1 where they look good, I want to see them build off that, because right now 0-2, we haven't seen that much so far. And for in their best interest, in the broadcast best interest, I want to see them turn that around.
We'll hopefully see them turn it around in this series, as they are turning up onto the field now. Was waiting for them to take the stage. They were a little bit nervous. They weren't forfeiting, but they were like, maybe we should this time. But this time, they are actually going to live up to their namesake. Unlike Team Wash, as I mentioned before, it's somehow the top of their division there specifically. But we need to get to the top of this game, the top of the series. 5 minutes on the clock. It will be We Won't Forfeit in blue versus Alberta Crushers in the orange, as they are looking to suffocate the defense of their opponents, do the best that they can, and see if they can come out on top at the end of the day.
Pace of play looking pretty quick so far. Rexia throwing it off the back wall and just giving some space on the ball. Shadow putting it on target. Guerrero has to make a goal line save. Rexia off the backboard. Mechanic with a backwards touch, not what they wanted, as that goes past your trailing teammate. Now for Rexia on the back wall, looking to get this clear to the opposing corner, and it goes pinching off to the ceiling, back down to the ground. And Shadow Killer with a light touch to get it past another.
So I'm expecting Shadow Killer, just by having Killer in their name, to be the best player on the field, just because that's the way things have gone in history. Yeah. We've got Scrub Killer, we've got First Killer. So now we have Shadow Killer here in the Intermediate League, and my eyes are going to be peeled to see exactly how they perform. Got a pretty decent setup as far as their decal goes and everything else, and maybe that'll be enough to mesmerize their opponents to take them down a peg and get that first goal on the board. But Phyrexia looking pretty solid, just not enough boost in the tank for them to continue that momentum forward.
Shadow beating one, and Guerrero with a fantastic touch, keeping that to the side, not even giving a chance for the 50-50. I realize. Throwing that one away. Grabbing some boost on with their momentum though. Mechanic with a bit of a backflip. Not intentional there, and they get demoed for it.
Happens to the best of them. You try to go for an interesting play, and then a demo comes out, and then you just have to set your controller down for a second or two. Take a breather. Maybe close your eyes so that you get rid of some of that screen time, as we mentioned for a healthy gaming tip before. Right now, eyes wide open on defense. Two defenders going for the play. Phyrexia taking their time on the attack, and no, barely off the mark. Again, barely off the mark again. We keep seeing these shots happening so many times from these players on the side of Alberta Crushers, but it's really just crushing their hopes and dreams to get that first goal.
Oh, so close, but the pressure is still on. Phyrexia off the back wall, not getting the second touch, but Mechanic is off the crossbar and out. Killer not getting there in time. They get a challenge. The ball remains in the midfield. Guerrero beating one, but it's going into the corner. Not much of a follow-up. Phyrexia having to get another 50-50. Almost gets the follow-up on that and realize panicking just a little bit. Lean to a 1v1 Shadow Killer. Not making the best of that. A lot of back and forth here. Neither team really committing the entirety of their offense. Just a little jabbing and poking here and there. And unfortunately, neither team breaking through quite yet.
I almost caster cursed it there, and I'm sure the team of Alberta Crushers would have thanked you very much for that. But unfortunately for them, not going to work out in their favor. This is the longest amount of time so far on a streamed match in these first 2 weeks that we haven't had a goal, and I almost cursed it myself, but even our curses can't be strong enough for that first one to go in.
Phyrexia trying to make it happen. 50 goes into the corner, realize maybe getting in the way there. All three defenders stuck in that corner on that ball. Realize gets their pocket picked. Mechanic beats another, not quite getting control of the ball though, so it doesn't get centered. Realize missing it. Oh my goodness, clutch save from Guerrero.
How have we not had a goal at this point? And Mechanic had a chance, a wide open opportunity, but unfortunately side flipped away from it. Wasn't quite prepared for that shot to come through. Phyrexia with 5 shots to their name, nothing to go for and show for afterwards. With no boost and having to leave it up to a Shadow Killer. It's set up perfectly, but unfortunately Shadow Killer pushed up a little bit too wide.
Guys, please put it on the net. So many close chances.
There we go.
Just
there we go.
By the wayside. Big save coming through. Mechanic, unfortunately, not the touch they wanted. Shadow Killer is gonna have to go forward and challenge. Mechanic could get a follow-up here. Big bouncer off the post and out.
Oh my
Another
goodness.
one off the crossbar and out. Third chance.
There we go. There we go.
That's the one that goes in, of course. Not the 90-kilometer-an-hour shots, but the graze on the ball, just going past, bouncing over Guerrero.
Man,
Of course, the first goal to go in is that one.
just smashed my elbow on my desk harder than that shot went in. Oh man, that's gonna hurt so much for the defense, because they have been looking so strong as they can, especially El Guerrero with 6 saves to their name. They're really the one that's keeping them in this fight. But again, on the opposite side of things, Phyrexia, 7 shots, finally the 1 goal. Might be a chance for 1 goal to come out for the other side, but no chance as it touches down. Alberta Crusher, a lot closer of a game than they might have expected, and we won't forfeit, living up to their namesake as we talk about that being a chance for a lot of these teams that are out there. They didn't forfeit anything. They gave everything on defense, and that's exactly what we saw throughout that game. Very close finish, but what a finish it was.
That was unbelievably close. I mean, we won't forfeit. You notice Guerrero with 6 saves, but it did feel like a bit of a team effort on defense. You know, sometimes the goals just don't spread, or the saves rather don't spread out evenly, but it was not a one-person effort. all three members were diving across the goal line, cutting down the angle. And mind you, there were a ton of shots that if they were placed a little bit better, this scoreline would have been a lot wider.
Oh yeah.
But you play with a hand you're dealt, you miss those shots, no take backsies, and this game was close. It doesn't matter how close the shots were. If you can't put them on net, it doesn't count.
That was crazy. Again, I talked about this like 2 times now, today even. That once a game, the first game of the series is that close, the next one, it's just going to be a slaughter fest. After all the shots that we saw from Phyrexia, you know that they are going to go out in style to make sure they get at least 2, if not even more than that. Probably a hat trick is what we could expect from them, from what we witnessed goal scoring capability wise. Guerrero is not up to snuff on defense this time, but we'll have to see how things go in game number 2. Will we see a first goal of the series? Because again, we only saw one on the other side this time for We Won't Forfeit, because that's what they need if they want to get a win. At least a single goal is all it takes, depending on how your team is doing against the competition. If they can keep them only to a single goal, then they'll be golden. That might not be enough here. There's a double commit coming out defensively for Phyrexia. They're hungry for this one, and it goes straight in for the first shot.
That placement was impeccable. Double commit coming through, and Phyrexia just lightly tapping the brakes, waiting for that ball to bounce to them. Because if they rush towards the sidewall to get to that ball as soon as possible, there was no angle to put that on net. Instead, they play patient. They realize they have time, and they make use of it. They wait for the ball to come to them and place that beautifully in the upper 90.
30 seconds into this one, where it took all the way till like less than 30 seconds in the last game somehow for the first goal to come through. But the demos might be the strategy here for either side to make it that much more difficult for their opponents, especially if you're in a stalemate. Demos is probably the best strategy, I feel like, come out on top, or just make it more difficult for your opponent to be as defensive as they were in that previous game. The Lord is trying his best, or their best, to keep the momentum going on offense while the rest of their team is respawning from what we have witnessed. And even then, not enough to keep that pressure up for that first goal.
You touched on it, but the demos could be the name of the game here to really break this stalemate. Because as any opponent of version 1 has said,
yep,
demos OP.
Oh man,
mechanic backflipping, that's going to be an opportunity for Lord. Realize missing their challenge, this could be a 3-on-1 here. Shadow Killer, not enough urgency. They bring it into the corner and the defense comes back to clear that away.
A little bit of team miscommunication happening there between our number 1 goal scorer of Phyrexia with 2 goals, 1 a game at least, which is good to see, but not the numbers we expected at this point in time in the competition, especially after the 7 shots we witnessed before, getting in Brazil themselves when it came to shots and goals. Phyrexia, speaking of them, almost able to follow that one up. They do get it this time. It was risky though. It looked like it might go off the crossbar.
Based on game 1, that's what I was expecting. I thought this was going off the crossbar and out. And at that point, their teammate Shadow Killer, a little too close to follow it up. Could have been another goal gone by the wayside, but fortunately for them, just under the crossbar in, well placed by Phyrexia.
Halfway point of this game now. Well, in a little bit under 10 seconds time. You can tell that the battle has extended into the orange half, with the demos in the favor of We Won't Forfeit. Again, you can't really forfeit in these games themselves. I don't believe we have any rules that allow for that. Unless like extenuating circumstances, but regardless, they're not going to let that take them down. Instead, it might be the goals coming out from Phyrexia, who is hungry for a hat trick. You might see it in the next 2 minutes of time, but we do see an open opportunity. The ball is a little bit, well, a little bit more than a little bit wide as it goes into the corner.
Plenty of opportunity to keep on the offense here. Just have good, clean rotations and absolutely control the boost. Phyrexia with another one on net. Good save by Realize, but not good enough. Phyrexia cutting rotations when they spotted the opportunity to pick the pocket of Lord Strikler. Just a quick turn on a dime, putting that one in the back of the net for the Hattie.
There we go. Just feasting for it and got the order delivered to them quite quickly and efficiently. Shadow Killer trying to see what they can do to make sure that their opponents don't get the first goal. That was very close.
Oh, crazy.
So close with that shot, as it was just right off the post. So much speed behind it as well, but even then, not enough for this team. We won't forfeit to get their first goal. They've only had 2 shots so far in this game as well, and right now another shot goes the other direction. Shadow Killer getting their first goal of the series.
Phyrexia with the setup here, just putting it in a dangerous spot with enough speed to cause the defense to panic. Ball ends up bouncing in front of the net, and Shadow Killer, playing patient all game, finally gets one on the board as the ball presents itself in front of an open net. See it once more on the ball, just trying to circle around, play some shadow defense. And finally, the grab control the ball. Mechanic trying to get a bit of a cuxier pinch there. Unfortunately, it doesn't go. Oh my goodness. Go. One on the board, finally. Now with a minute left, who knows? It's a little tight, but it is possible.
Lord Strikler doing what they can. They've been on offense for the majority of this game, so definitely a different strategy than we saw beforehand in game number 1, where they were stuck on their defensive half. Not much they could do, trying to get as many saves as possible. And Guerrero, only a single shot to their name, no saves at all. So a lot different of a story compared to before, where they have changed their strategy and they knew they needed to get a goal to try and have a chance at this series. They got 1, but they need 3 more in 40 seconds time. It is a possibility, but it is a very difficult one to succeed in, especially if you can't get control of the ball after a touch defensively like that. Guerrero does get their first save of the game, but might not save them enough time to get those 3 goals.
With only 30 seconds left, it is just too dire. So little time to work with. Could be a 50 if Mechanic gets control. They do. 5-1 now, 15 seconds. This is all but over in name. It is impossible to come back from this one. I mean, just a fantastic performance. An orange team right here to put 5 goals up after such a low-scoring game 1.
Just really goes to show the shift in strategy didn't quite work out in the favor of We Won't Forfeit. They did stellar on defense, but somehow a goal did end up going through. It didn't force an OT, because if it got to that situation, they might have been able to pull off a victory there. That might have been their strategy, but strategy is crushed in the face of the Alberta Crusher here, specifically the main Alberta Crusher being Phyrexia. And Shadow Killer and Mechanic also getting involved on offense with their individual goals throughout that second game. And so far, the first 2 weeks of streams, not a single game 3. And that just goes to show how stiff the competition is out there. Once you get that first game, it is hard to come back and tie things up, especially with the closeness of those first games, that it feels like the pressure is just released when a team gets that first victory, because that's all the confidence they need to move forward and confidently take that second game.
Yeah, that is the key word there, confidence. Being able to go into the neutral game, 0-0, fresh series. You don't know their opponents, they don't know you. And being able to win that first game, it just gives you so much momentum. You don't hesitate on challenges, so you end up beating your opponents who are second guessing themselves. You end up rotating a lot more aggressively, because maybe you don't respect your opponent's threat as much, so you're keeping on the offense. And it is just a cycle of small victories that add up into an even easier win into game 2.
That's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, but just realized I have a HyperX headset here. Shout out to HyperX as well. Love the Cloud 2s. I've used those for a long time since I got some of those. Also, shout out to Nanoleaf, one of our presenting sponsors, GameCon Canada as well, helping provide for the prize pool. And again, of course, to TELUS for making this TELUS Esports Series 2 a possibility. You want a reminder of the lovely deals that are out there with TELUS? Well, they partnered with Xbox. So for Alberta and British Columbia residents only, you can purchase the Optic TV package and you add Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which includes access to hundreds of high quality games plus EA Play and Xbox Live Gold. You can bundle and save with internet, TV, and gaming using that package. It's the most affordable way to get streaming and TV in one plan where you can customize entertainment packages based on your preference, including Netflix, Crave, movies, HBO, and more. And hundreds of digital channels, including in HD radio stations, movies, multicultural channels, and more. Link in the chat for that for more details there. But that's all the time we have for week number 2, the halfway point of the regular season for the TELUS Esports Series 2. How are you feeling so far about how things are going, Trevor?
Not bad. I'm presently surprised by the level of play we've seen so far, and we haven't even seen the elite division.
Oh yeah,
where we can see Supersonic Legends, a top rank in the game. That is going to be magnifique. So I am very excited for when those games also get underway. The diamonds have been impressing me. The plats have been impressing me.
Everyone's been impressing us.
Yeah, everybody's been impressing. Not much to complain about so far.
Yeah, some good series, some good matches. Congrats to all the winners. Good luck next time to all the losers throughout the series today. Exclamation point TELUS in the chat if you want to follow along with how the different divisions are going. I believe specifically, as far as the prize pool is concerned, Elite League gets $21,000 out of the $30,000 that is available in prizing, which is crazy to think about. Advanced League, as we saw 2 of those matches today, 6,700 with 6,750. That's probably an easier way to say that. Intermediate League, 2,250 there as well, and then $600 for the beginner league themselves. So nice to see some of the pot spread around, but in different categories based on how we'll see the competition once it gets down to those final 2 days for the playoffs, the 17th and the 18th. Again, make sure you fill out that lovely form in the chat. We're giving away 2 Xbox Series S consoles to TELUS Esports Series participants. All you have to do is complete the survey, and winners will be drawn live during the Rocket League Finals on December 17th and 18th. But again, I feel like we've overstayed our welcome a little bit. So we'll see you next week for some more TELUS Esports Series 2 action in just a little bit.